Welcome to the Science of Excellence. You may be wondering exactly what is it? Well, the Science of Excellence is the leading elite athlete mentoring system. I teach elite athletes of all different ages and levels who are striving towards the performance pathway of excellence in their given sport, in their given field. So what is it exactly I do? I work with athletes teaching them how to develop and improve their inner game. You've spent most of your lives developing the outer game, the physical, developing and improving your physical techniques, your strategies, your individual skills and techniques. And this is only 50% of what is going to take you to the top. The other half is working on the inner game. And this is where I come in. I work with athletes, teaching them how to take control over their mind and master the inner game so that they can consistently step out into their arena and perform to their top of their potential every single time. So, in a nutshell, what am I actually doing? Well, I'm actually working with the brain. And how I like to look at it is that there's two players going on. You've got player one, who is the conscious mind, the analytical mind, the part of you which is looking at me, trying to understand what it is that I'm saying right now. The athlete that steps out onto the pitch or court and tries to solve problems and think about things. And then you've got player two. Player two is this deeper, intuitive part of you, the part of the mind which is really controlling 90-95% of your body and what you do. Player two is where all of your skills, all of your techniques have been stored. And in particular, this is in the back of your mind, in the cerebellum. All of your motor programs, all of your motor skills are stored in the back of your mind. And what often happens is that there's some kind of disconnect between player one and player two. And you will have experienced this disconnect when you've gone out to perform, either before, during, and even after, and you have perhaps been incongruent with yourself in some way. You may have felt frustrated, you may have got angry, you may have felt that you let yourself down or you let your parents down or your coach down or your team down. And you may talk to yourself in a way, you may say things like, I'm not good enough, that shot was shocking, I can't believe I did this. And you say various different inner conversations inside your mind. But what all this is doing is disconnecting you from your deeper self, the athlete inside of yourself who you've been developing for years and years and years. All of those hours that you spent practicing, all of those skills have been buried, have been ingrained into this subconscious mind at the back. And when you play at your best, you're able to just let those subconscious programs just flow from within you. Except when your conscious mind, your analytical filter, when player one steps in, it stops player two doing what it does best, stopping you, your intuitive self, doing what you do to the highest level based on your current level of ability. So essentially, I am working with people like you who want to maximize their potential. And perhaps they're not quite sure what next steps to take. And this is where I come in. I teach athletes all sorts of different techniques, from helping them to change their internal states, to get control of their states, to dampen down nerves, to creating new powerful beliefs, to even developing new skills. Because when you learn a new skill, essentially what you're doing is building a schema, which is like a video of a particular skill that you're trying to master. And that then skill, that video gets stored in your subconscious mind. It gets stored and downloaded into player two. Okay? And what you as an athlete want to be able to do is access player two's performance skills and techniques whenever you need it. You need it on cue. When you're going into the game day, when you're stepping out on the court, the pitch, you need player two operating at full capacity without player one getting in the way. Perhaps you can even remember a time when you underperformed. What does this look like? Perhaps you can remember back to how you were performing and maybe how you were talking to yourself back then. And perhaps now just notice how it feels and how you felt back then. Notice how you were moving, how your posture was dictating your performance. Were those movements sluggish? Were they slow? Were the words that you were talking to yourself, were they more aggressive? Were they more doubtful? Was there that anxious tone in it? How do you actually look back then? So you have a program in your mind which your subconscious has stood as, this is what I perform like when I don't play so well. However, you've also played many games or competed in many competitions where you've excelled, where you've performed right to the peak of your power. Some call it the zone, some call it the flow. Somewhere in between those two words is the optimal performance, when your optimal arousal levels have hit a peak, when you've not got too assertive and when you've not got too nervous or doubtful, where these two worlds meet. Somewhere in there is this optimal zone. So I'd like to just spend a moment now just remembering back to one of your best performances. What does this look like? How are you talking to yourself then? How do you feel when you're remembering back to one of your greater performances? What was your posture like when you was performing in this way? How are you moving your body in this performance? And I'd imagine that the two very different internal programs that you've got. And what I specialise in is making sure that this great performance that you are thinking about now, perhaps, that you are consistently stepping into performances like this and feeling at your optimal self more and more consistently over time. And we do this by taking control of the inner game. You can take control over this by mastering the inner game, by mastering this relationship between player one, the conscious analytical mind, and player two, your true inner self, your true inner athlete, and your true self as a person. And when these two are in harmony, this is when your best performance flows, when you get and step into the flow state. Now, so if you are somebody who's searching for excellence, if you're somebody who's striving to take your performance to the next level, then I have the tools, I have the techniques, I have the specialised, unique tools which I've been cultivating for over 20 years, bringing in various different disciplines from psychology, psychotherapy, all sorts of different fields that I then use to combine these techniques to teach you how to master your inner game. Because you're never going to consistently perform at your best unless you get control of this. Those old weeds, those problems which come back from time to time, will only grow more and more unless you tend to them. You must learn how to tend to the garden of your mind. And you do this by taking control of your neurology. You do this by taking control of your inner state. You do this by taking control of any limiting beliefs that were stopping you perform at your best. Because if you've ever had doubts about yourself, if you've ever felt anxious, if you've ever felt pressure, then there's something going on in there. That inner story that you are telling yourself is ultimately rooted to a belief which is causing you to have those doubts, to feel that pressure, to feel that anxiety. And I promise you that when you learn these powerful NeuroCise techniques, learning my Science of Excellence programs, you're going to learn how to diminish those limiting beliefs and grow powerful, productive, strong beliefs about yourself, which enable you to consistently step out into your arena and perform to your very best. So now's the time to take action. Now's the time to take control over your performance, take control over your future. Because the longer you leave it, the more and more athletes are getting ahead of you in one way or another. And I can assure you this, any athlete who is not learning these techniques is getting further behind. And I promise you this also, that when you begin learning these techniques, you're going to find that your performances kick on and take your specialised sport to a whole new level. You can keep taking this and growing your performance to infinite different levels, as long as you believe that you can do this. And if you're a committed athlete who's searching for results, who's searching for consistency, then I have programs, I have techniques which are going to empower you and transform you so that you can get complete control of the inner game. And if you'd like to find out more about me, about my programs and my techniques, then all you have to do is get in touch, and you can sign yourself up for a free session, whether that be in person or online. So what are you waiting for? Now's the time to unleash your power and take your performance to a whole new level.